Well, it sounds like we were dealing with some audio difficulties, but good news is we've got those straightened away. It is 7-7, 3 minutes into the game, and the Yellow Jackets and Crusaders meeting for the first time here in 2021. Alongside Dominic Clary, I'm Brendan Gulick, and glad to have you on board here tonight from Ursprung Gymnasium. Christian Pfeiffer goes down the left lane and lays one in. Little and one for Pfeiffer.
You know, after that three-point performance, it seems like Baldwin Wallace is trying to make note of getting to the bucket this game.
Again, since we were dealing with those audio issues, I want to give you the starting lineups again. Jake Snyder, Anthony Mazzio, Luke Driscoll, Drew Wennis, and Christian Pfeiffer, the starters tonight for BW. Luke Driscoll getting his first career start. Shane Zalba, Samson Albert, and Leon Levesque not available tonight for BW. So the Jackets are going to try to lean on a few additional options for other minutes. Driscoll, I think, has played pretty well. He just hasn't had a ton of playing time so far. But when he's been out there, I've been impressed with the young man from California. Driscoll is playing just about 14, 15 minutes a game. Good crossover there from Cameron Caldwell. Actually, I beg your pardon, that's Keandre Graves. Meant to say that Cameron Caldwell and Joe Hartman, who typically start for Capital, not available tonight. Snyder denied a driving lane. A little pull-up jump shot just inside the arc, and Wennis is off target. Jackets by 3. Graves fouled on his way to the bucket. Reed Bradfield, Tyler Schreck, Carter Combs, Griffin Dosick, and Keandre Graves, starting 5 for Capital. Graves goes to the free throw line, a transfer from Central State. And the first one's up and good. Northeast Ohio kid, played his high school ball at Garfield Heights. Legendary high school coach in the area, Sonny Johnson, coaches over at Garfield. And that one's up and good. So Graves making the most of his opportunity here to get a start tonight. Capital down 1. Wennis working with Mazzio. Jackson Simmons, who checked in, wanted to set the screen, but Mazzio didn't use it. Instead, Anthony driving baseline, kicks out for a Pfeiffer 3 ball, and it's right on the money.
That was a great kick out to find the open man on the wing there.
Christian Pfeiffer buries the 3. What's Graves have in mind here? Good little play in the middle of the key. I think Mazzio is especially cognizant of trying not to get in foul trouble tonight. That bugged him last weekend. Snyder, a contested 3, fades away a bit and hits the bottom of the net. Capital calls a 30-second timeout. It's 16-11 Jackets, 5 minutes into the first half. Be back in just a second here at Baldwin Wallace. Jackets lead the game by 5 minutes in. Dominic, what do you like so far?
I really like the ball movement that Baldwin Wallace is doing. One thing I noticed with Capital, they're trying to get the ball in the post. I mean, they haven't been scared to shoot the 3 either, but you can tell that they're trying to take advantage of the depth they have and some of the size that they have against Baldwin Wallace.
Right down the left lane, Dosick couldn't quite get a clean look off.
Great block without making contact. He was behind him, so it's really easy to get a foul there. He was able to keep his distance, not hit the arm. It's a great block.
Pfeiffer feeds it underneath. Wennis turns around and puts it in. Drew Wennis Gives the Yellow Jackets a 7-point lead. It was a very competitive weekend for the Jackets last weekend, but somewhat frustrating in that they shot the ball so poorly on Friday night at John Carroll. They really felt like they gave one away. Trey Meister comes in for Capital, and the Yellow Jackets bringing Rob Watson in for the first time. But obviously, BW exercised a lot of those demons just one night later. Meanwhile, Capital, I mentioned they were coming off of a disappointing loss, and perhaps they were most frustrated there because they had just beaten Wilmington the night before and beat them somewhat handily.
You know, both these teams have a common theme where they split the series. The only 2 games that they lost in a row, both these teams, Baldwin Wallace, the first series of the year against Mount Union, and Capital against Heidelberg.
It's 21-11. You know, admittedly, Heidelberg has a great record so far, and you know, you play who you have to play. There's an offensive foul, goes the other way. I don't think anybody is going to confuse Heidelberg with the best team in the league this year, but I won't take away anything from the fact that they have won each of the 5 games they've played so far. But boy, their schedule is backloaded, and Heidelberg's going to run into some challenges here coming up, I would imagine, very soon. Mount Union and Marietta seem to be the 2 toughest teams in the league. And after that, it could be a bit different. Well, we've got a stoppage in play. Somebody's staring at the floor. I wonder if they're looking at perhaps a wet spot on the floor, or maybe if there was some blood.
A loose tile, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But several players and coaches were looking that direction, so they want to make sure they get that all squared away.
They might have to bring the towels on the floor here very soon if there's some blood or water issues.
Well, the athletic trainers started to walk away from the BW bench. That's Yellow Jacket assistant coach Phil Cookta, who came over to examine the hardwood, but didn't really need any crazy attention, so that's good. This Capital team a year ago was 500, 13-13. They went exactly 500 in league play, 9-9, and lost both of their regular season meetings to the Jackets. Drew Wennis tries to make a move to his left, cuts back and threw one almost right through Rob Watson. A couple years ago, though, this Capital team was awfully good, weren't they? They tri-champion in the regular season. They ended up as the #1 team in the OAC tournament, #1 seed, I should say. And a very memorable, fun win for the Jackets on the road in the OAC semis to knock Capital out of the league tournament. But both teams ended up playing in the NCAA tournament 2 seasons back. Driscoll, fancy stuff. Luke Driscoll lays it home. Good little run from the Jackets here. Simmons pulls away the loose ball. BW led this game 10-9. Now they lead 23-11. Graves stops and pops and scores. Speaking of Heidelberg, by the way, Anthony Golson, one of the assistant coaches at Capital, as Driscoll floats one up and puts it home. Anthony Golson, the lead assistant for Damon Goodwin, was the head coach at Heidelberg for a little while. And that jump ball's going to stay on this end. But this is, believe it or not, it's his 8th year now as an assistant with the Crusaders. Tyler Schreck, the younger brother of Austin Schreck, who was the OAC's Player of the Year a couple seasons ago, and a NABC Division III All-Star. Tyler Schreck comes back on the floor. Spins around and fires toward Sanford in the corner. David Sanford, freshman point guard from Springfield. And the bank shot doesn't go home for Joe Hartman. So Damon Goodwin choosing not to start Joe Hartman tonight, even though he has started all 6 games he's played this year. Hartman picks up a loose ball there. Graves, good ball fake, freed up a good look, but he couldn't score off it.
Graves really loves that left side of the wing there. That's the second time, I believe, a second shot in a row for him where he's settled around the three-point line on the left side of that wing.
Graves is going to find some spot on the bench. Jackets have Pfeiffer back on the floor with Wennis, Snyder, Driscoll, and Watson. And here they come up the floor offensively. Schreck, Combs, Sanford. Still working out there with Dosick. And who am I missing? Oh, Reed Bradfield on the floor. Snyder sidestepped to an open 3. That one didn't look too great coming out of his hands.
They're trying to get that 3 going early on, but they struggled of late sinking those in. The air ball, I think, won, and they're missing the rim a little bit here. So hopefully for Baldwin Wallace, they can. What a block! Unbelievable.
Watson with a great play to leap up and knock it away. Jackets are 4 of 7 from 3. They're shooting a terrific 10 of 15 from the floor to start the game. Capital ice cold, 5 of 17, and they've hit just 1 of 7 threes. Part of the reason the Jackets have nearly doubled up the Crusaders in the opening nearly 10 minutes. Watson goes to work, turns and scores. Rob Watson, Christian Pfeiffer, Drew Wennis, all freshmen. All long, lanky, and very athletic, and you just get the feeling that give those guys a good, hard year in the weight room with Tom Heil and Brian Schmidt and the way this team likes to hit the weights. I got a feeling this could be a very good BW team for several years to come.
You know, I really like Drew Wennis. He had 21 points against John Carroll on February 6th. It's the second time he's done that this year. He also had 9 rebounds against Mount Union. So, you know, he can affect the game in multiple different ways. He can pass as well. So he can be someone that Baldwin Wallace can rely on truly for, you know, was he a freshman for 4 years? So, you know, hopefully for them, they can really take advantage of his skills.
Yeah, Wennis had both of those 21-point performances last week against the Blue Streaks. It's a heck of a way to start your time in the rivalry game across town, right? With a couple of 20-point performances. Nothing wrong with that.
You know, too bad there wasn't a crowd in any of those games.
It was disappointing for sure, but frankly, everybody's just glad to be playing at this point.
That's for sure.
Great long pass up the floor, and Mazzio lays it in, 31-15.
You know, Baldwin Wallace is really pushing the tempo, and the Capital seems they're almost struggling to keep up.
Sanford draws the foul. It's on Watson. It's only BW's second and Watson's first. Jackets' leading scorer is Wennis with 8. Mazzio has 7, Luke Driscoll with 6. Christian Pfeiffer has 5 early on. Pretty good balance. Snyder and Watson have the other points. DeAndre Graves leads Capital with 6. Little turnaround and left-handed hook shot there from Reed Bradfield. He's got 6.
Yeah, and there's Capital again going to the post there.
Mazzio lost the handle. Watson picked it up, scored, and got hit.
You know, that could have easily been a turnover, but then turned into a old-fashioned three-point play for Baldwin Wallace.
Little sloppy, but ended up working out in their favor. Nothing wrong with that. Griffin Dosick heads to the bench. Graves comes back in. And Cameron Caldwell checks in. Second time Caldwell's come off the bench. So the senior point guard out of Westerville South back on the floor as Bradfield glides toward the rim. Easy lay-in, 33-19. Well, the Jackets have already hit 4 3-pointers, but they've scored 20 points in the paint already. Pfeiffer, not quite. That means BW's either connecting from deep or they're not having to settle for 2-point jump shots because everything else has come inside the key. Here's another fast break opportunity. Driscoll controls it, but couldn't quite finish while absorbing the contact, and now Pfeiffer got fouled.
You know, when you look at the performance that Baldwin Wallace had last week against John Carroll, you know, you'd think they'd really emphasize getting their shooters open, but it seems like they're getting to the paint a lot easier than you would expect looking at those stats.
Well, you take the good looks whenever you can get them, right?
For sure.
That foul was on Reed Bradfield, who is making his first start this year. But the young man from Edgewood, Kentucky has certainly been a staple for Damon Goodwin as a junior and senior. He started all 26 games the Crusaders played last year. Far and away his most successful season as a college athlete a year ago when he was over 13 points per game. Bradfield this year 6 points, 3.5 rebounds in the first 6 games of the year. Tough play by Graves, and I think Jackson Simmons may have gotten a fingertip on that. So the Jackets come up the floor, up by 15, under 8. Look how tight they're guarding one of the all-time great shooters in Massillon Jackson history. Anthony Mazzio misses one long. Bodies hitting the floor, opens up a chance for Hartman, but he got fouled.
You know, Capital's really guarding that three very close. You know, they've guarded them, you know, at the volleyball line pretty much. It seems like their emphasis of playing up on the three is letting in post opportunities and open layups for Baldwin Wallace, and that's probably why they're getting in so easy and having so many layups and one opportunities. I could be wrong. Now, we were talking about Heidelberg earlier. I think they're playing Mount today. I could be wrong on that, but okay. Early on, Baldwin Wallace so far, they've been able to do a lot of fast breaks. So you think Capital would possibly slow the game down, try to put it in the half court, bring the ball into the paint, take Baldwin Wallace out of their element a little bit. They missed an open corner opportunity there. It's almost as the ball just slipped right out of his hand as he tried to get that hook going. Oh. I mean, a few players have lost the ball the past few possessions, so maybe someone poured some water on it earlier or some sweaty palms out there. Now, it makes you wonder if Baldwin Wallace is going to shy away from that three and rely on that inside scoring they've been able to get.
Hope you're enjoying our live streaming coverage tonight of the Capital Crusaders and the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Alongside Dominic Clary, I'm Brendan Gulick. It's a 36-26 game, and we've got 3:51 left in the first half. Tonight's game brought to you by Cleveland Clinic Sports Medicine, the healthcare provider for BW Athletics, by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. And by the Oswald Company, they'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. Jackets shooting 58% from the floor, and they've got 8 from Drew Wennis to lead all scorers. Although Reed Bradfield and Keandre Graves have certainly chipped in on the Capital side with 16 combined. Wennis in trouble and lost it. Tyler Schreck, little too much heat on it, trying to lob one in transition there to Hartman. If you missed the note earlier, Samson Albert, Shane Zalba, and Leon Levesque not available for the Jackets tonight. And so Luke Driscoll, a freshman from Carmel, California, getting his first opportunity to start as a college basketball player. Meanwhile, left side 3 ball off target from Trey Meister. Their offensive rebound gave Graves and company a second look at it. Now Sanford buries a 3.
You know, I was just about to say, Capital can't get the three-point shot going, but, you know, second chance opportunity, hit a deep 3.
Simmons raises. Off target. Capitals already cut it down to 7. They trailed by as many as 16, and now it's a 4-point game. David Sanford, no problemo.
Yeah, he had 0 points about 5 seconds ago, and now he has 6 points off of two open threes.
Driscoll. 4 to shoot. I think Snyder's lost track of the shot clock. Well, he did get it off in time, but it didn't go. Frustrating there from BW, but Capital quickly gives it right back on the traveling violation. Now on the floor for the Jackets, it's Wennis, Snyder, Mazzeo, Pfeiffer, and Trevor Mackey. Final minute and a half of the first half. Mazzeo spins, fades back. Boy, how did that fall away? It's more than halfway down.
It feels like he has had a few of those where it's gone in and out. You know, hitting a little too much of the back of the rim and just not falling for him.
Sometimes things just don't bounce your way. Got a foul on the floor.
You know, but Baldwin Wallace, it seemed like, you know, earlier in this half they had such high energy, and it almost appears if they're almost like lethargic out there, and Capital has like stole their energy. You know, defense, Capital's been all over the floor the past few possessions.
Well, the Jackets, the last 8 minutes now, have gone ice cold from the floor. In fact, more than that. Pfeiffer called for the foul. When Anthony Mazzeo hit a layup with 9:41 to play, BW took a 31-15 lead. Actually, we can go a little bit more recent than that. Rob Watson hit a layup. The next trip up the floor is 33-17 with 9:03 on the clock. So the Jackets led by 16 points, and now the lead is 4.
They're not having that three-pointer falling as much as you want it can hurt you, and I think they've relied on a little too much maybe. That might be the reason why they gave up that lead they had.
Well, they've missed their last 6 in a row from deep now. Final minute of suddenly a tight first half. Snyder. Telling Mackey to go through. Meanwhile, the back half of the play, Drew Wennis called for a foul. So Capital can cut the lead in half or more with a basket this trip up. 44.5 seconds to play, fresh shot clock. Gut check time for the Yellow Jacket defense, and Watson throws a shoulder. That's an easy whistle.
David Sanford, he's made a big impact here for Capital, especially his last few possessions. Hit those 2 threes, first one, that second chance opportunity. He seems like he almost gave him a new energy. He just rejuvenated this Capital team.
Well, he misfires on the foul shot, but you're right, he certainly has given them a jolt. A couple of three-pointers for Sanford in this one.
2 for 3 so far on field goal attempts, 2 for 2 on three-point opportunities.
Shot clock was still at 10, so there was time, but Driscoll liked the look. Beg your pardon, Mackey liked the look. And now Capital can hold for the last shot here with 8 seconds to play. Looks like they're going to run an ISO with Combs. Right down the middle of the key, back to the bucket, no. Hartman's putback is
They're counting
good.
it.
How about that? Joe Hartman tips it in. The referees count the bucket, and it's a 2-point game at the half. The Yellow Jackets, over the final 9 minutes of the first half, scored just 3 points. 3. It was 33-17 and now 36-34. The Yellow Jackets ended up shooting 48% in the opening 20 minutes, 4 of 13 from 3. Capital scratching and clawing their way back in this one. All right, Dominic and I will step aside. We'll come back with second half coverage here in just under 15 minutes. You're watching live streaming coverage of the Yellow Jackets and the Capital Crusaders on bwyellowjackets.com. Welcome back on BWYellowJackets.com, where it's just a 2-point game as we start the second half tonight. The Yellow Jackets lead at 36-34, but that is the understatement of the night. This has not been a comfortable second half of the first half. Dom, this was a very comfortable 33-17 lead for BW. And all of a sudden, the Jackets went absolutely ice cold from the floor, made one free throw and one other basket the rest of the half, over 9 minutes. They lost all offensive rhythm they had early on, and now Capital's giving them a pretty good game.
I mean, the story for Capital, the reason why they've came back, 8 second chance points is to Baldwin Wallace's 1. I mean, Baldwin Wallace is pretty much, it's been pretty even at the paint, but Baldwin Wallace has the edge. But those second chance points for Capital have put them back in the game and have really hurt Baldwin Wallace.
This is Graves on Mazzio. Tyler Schreck. Dosick. Graves denied a driving lane. Reed Bradfield in trouble. Pfeiffer was there to swat it away. And a foul as Drew Wennis tried to slither through the defense. Wennis, freshman guard out of Huron, who's had a very good start to his college career. First 6 games for Drew Wennis. I mentioned earlier he had back-to-back 21-point performances against John Carroll last week, but all in all, he's at nearly 16 points per game. That one's taken away. Pfeiffer went sprawling down the floor as Reed Bradfield glided to the rim for 2. Mazzio and Wennis have been BW's 2 best offensive options this year as Mazzio draws the whistle.
No, if you're Baldwin Wallace, you put the ball in the hands of Wennis and Mazzio. I mean, those are your 2 best playmakers so far this year, at least. Those 2 can they can potentially put you back. I guess they're still in the game, but they can give you that lead back that you had. But they need to get started. They need to start going. And they really haven't been able to. I mean, they have 8 and 7 points. I mean, they're not having a bad game by any means, but they're not taking control of the game like they usually do.
It's a 19-3 Capital run right now as Bradfield blocks the layup into the backboard. Quickly the other way, the Crusaders can't capitalize. Snyder feeds the corner. Driscoll stepped out of bounds. Well, that's certainly not what Driscoll had in mind. Luke Driscoll, of course, from gorgeous Carmel, California, which is out in Monterey County. And everybody in Monterey County right now is enjoying the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am this weekend. I'm sure Luke Driscoll probably misses that event or misses that weather, considering, oh wow, Graves got called for the foul there. It certainly looked like perhaps Driscoll had dribbled out of bounds.
He was dancing on that sideline there.
Well, either way, it is 25 degrees here in Berea, and I know it was somewhat chilly in California today, but not as not as bad as it was here.
Not chilly by our standards, I would say.
Definitely not. Good effort, Driscoll, high off the window for 2, and boy, the Jackets need that one. More than 2 minutes gone here in the second half. Finally get on the board.
And Baldwin Wallace needs to get back into paint.
That layup attempt actually hit the backside of the backboard from Joe Thompson. So that's the reason for the whistle and sending it back to BW. You know, growing pains on both sides. That's just kind of how it goes.
I mean, 2 young teams. I mean, that kind of goes with it.
2 extremely young teams, for sure. Mentioned both of these 2 programs were really, really good 2 seasons ago. Both went to the NCAA tournament. Capital was the regular season champ. There's a foul on Driscoll. Baldwin Wallace beat Capital in the OAC semifinals down in Bexley 2 seasons back.
That fantastic run they had.
3 straight road wins in the OAC tournament to win the whole thing. Concluded at Mount Union. There's a long 2-ball from Bradfield. 41-38 Crusaders. Snyder, way too easy. Joe Thompson couldn't keep up with him. All right, so the Jackets with a couple of layups now here in fairly short order from Driscoll and Snyder. Maybe that'll help settle down the offensive struggles.
Get back to that formula that was working early for him.
Kind of an ugly shot from Thompson, but a second chance. Graves into trouble. Pfeiffer swats it away, right back to Bradfield, who throws one up with some odd touch, and Pfeiffer tips the rebound to himself. BW could take the lead back here. Snyder down the left side again. That one missed short. 4 minutes into the second half. Graves way too long on a 3. This has not been the most optically pleasing game. Seen some ugly shots from both sides, some frustrating turnovers. There's a good pass inside, and Mazzio with the little Mikan drill up and under.
Seems like every layup that he's had so far, like it keeps bouncing on the rim. It just doesn't want to get in the hoop.
Another one that just won't find the bottom of the net. Here's Wennis sitting on 8 points. No Jacket in double figures. Wennis has 8. Mazzio scampers to get that one. He leads the team with 9. Driscoll's got 8 as well. Now Mazzio launches from 3. Reed Bradfield with a dozen. Keandre Graves has 11. And Graves is fouled. It's on Mazzio. Meanwhile, Sanford, Hartman, and Combs return for Capital. And Jackson Simmons back on the floor along with Rob Watson III for Baldwin Wallace. Well, frustrating for the Jackets that they weren't able to maintain that big early lead, but perhaps it's good for BW. Ooh, foul called on Watson. Perhaps it's good for BW to be playing in a, tight game that certainly, mentally forces you to stay locked in and really try to grind it out, because while it's been a weird night and a weird year, most of the time you play games in the OAC and the wins are not going to come easily.
No. I mean, one thing Baldwin Wallace has done all year, I think other than the one Mount Union game that slipped away with them, they fought in every game they've played. I mean, this is a young team. They fight. They have a lot of heart. They're, no matter what the situation is, this team's going to keep fighting. They gave up a 16-point lead. Baldwin Wallace isn't going to let that faze them. They're still going to keep fighting.
Snyder right to the rack for 2.
And they're getting back to the bucket like they were early on in that first half, and they seemed like they were just trying to get back to the 3-point game that they left so much.
Something had malfunctioned with the shot clock and had run down to 23, so they reset it to 28, and Capital will re-inbound.
We had a shoe malfunction as well.
David Sanford lost his left sneaker.
So burning right through his shoes.
Coverage of this Yellow Jackets game brought to you by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. By Buffalo Wild Wings in Medina, Strongsville, and Warrensville Heights. And by Barron's Bus Company, the official charter bus company for Yellow Jacket athletics. Dylan Dupler watching from the bench. Griffin Dosick working in the post. That one's from the right corner, and it's buried. Joe Thompson. Big time three ball, 45-44. It's only Capital's 5th three of the night, but they have shot it much better lately after a 1-for-7 start. They've hit 4 of their last 7. Driscoll short on the layup, and a foul on the Crusaders as Simmons grabbed the rebound. Damon Goodwin, 2 hands on his head. I don't think he likes the call.
It seems like the Baldwin Wallace offense a lot, especially the second half, is trying to utilize one-on-one matchups. They've done some on-ball screens, but there's not a lot like a motion going on. There was going on earlier in the game. They had a motion going, but now it just seems like they're give the ball to your best player in one-on-one matchups.
There's a left corner three. Jake Snyder taking that long drought personally in the first half, as a team anyways. A foul at the rim as Simmons whacked Sanford. Jackets lead by 2 here, and Capital goes back to the free throw line with 13:37 on the clock. Meanwhile, latest update from around the conference. First one good. Mount Union leads Heidelberg by only 3, 47-44. With 13:32 left in that one. Otterbein all over Muskingum tonight, 60-41, early second half. And don't look now, but Wilmington leads Marietta, 41-37. They're 5 minutes into the second half down in Wilmington. Keep your eye on a potential Pioneer upset tonight.
Mount Union, the last time they lost was actually against Heidelberg, I believe last year. So there's some tension behind that matchup.
47 all. Ring up 3 more. Joe Thompson. You betcha. Well, in the interest of trying to be objective, the Mount Union Purple Raiders last year, I truly believe, were Division III Final Four good. And frankly, they might be better this year. And it's incredibly disappointing they won't have the chance to try and make that kind of a run. I think this Mount Union team this year, and frankly even the one they had last year, are better than the Marietta teams that consistently went to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, as Tom Heil calls the timeout. That Raider team last year was something pretty sweet, and disappointing for them that they weren't able to make a run through the tournament with the way the pandemic ended their seasons. Timeout on the floor. It's the Yellow Jackets trailing by 3, 50-47, still early second half in Berea. Capital by 3 as we approach the midway point of the second half. Alongside Dominic Clary, I'm Brendan Gulick. The Yellow Jackets early in this game had no problem getting off to a hot start and racing to a huge lead, frankly. 33-17 through 11 minutes. And then Capital, between the first half and the beginning of the second half, went on a 19-3 run. Yellow Jackets made one basket from the floor in almost 11 minutes. Snyder, Wenis, easy money, and a foul. Carter Combs can't believe it. But Carter Combs apparently hit Wenis on the wrist on the way up, and the Jackets have a chance to tie the game from the stripe.
I talked about Baldwin Wallace earlier, getting the fast break going, but it's almost been the opposite. I feel like ever since I said that, Baldwin Wallace has only had, they've only had 5 fast break points while Capital has 15. And bench points has been huge for Capital too. They have 19 points off the bench while Baldwin Wallace only have 6. Capital has really relied on their bench to get back in this game.
It's a 50-50 tie. Dosick needed help. That's a long 2. And I don't want to call it a friendly bounce. It was many friendly bounces. Joe Hartman from just outside the right elbow.
That ball hit every spot on the rim.
Most of them more than once. Pfeiffer with Hartman all over him. The freshman turns and scores. Well done.
He's had a good game so far.
Well, the Jackets need to keep establishing this inside presence because after starting 4 of 6 from 3, things have gone south in a hurry. 1 of their last 10. Only Snyder's 3 from the left corner. And that's a stretch now that's gone probably 20 minutes. Snyder on cue tried to put one in, then nobody boxed him out. So he followed it up by banking it home.
That's a great follow on that shot. Never give up on that shot. No one boxed him out. He was able to get that rebound after the failed 3-point attempt.
Long 3 from dead on, and Combs almost got his own rebound. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, he almost shot that from the football stadium.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Christian Pfeiffer not feeling great after it looked like he kind of banged his left knee into Combs. Couple of changes now as Graves and Bradfield and Caldwell all check back in. After a few bodies went flying on the floor, they want to make sure that there's no slippery surface. Have to make an adjustment on the clock. 20-second shot clock. There we go. Dosick gave right back to Caldwell off the inbound. Good physicality underneath. A really nice answer from Pfeiffer as Dosick tried to fight his way up for a layup.
That's the 5th block, I believe, for Baldwin Wallace. They've really taken advantage of their inside presence.
Well, it helps when you've got a 6'9" post player that's long and lanky and can jump pretty good for a 19-year-old kid.
And almost just got another one.
54-54. Pfeiffer, obviously he's got the height that you can't coach. But I think he's still growing into his body a little bit. Mazio blocked out of bounds. Great defense from Reed Bradfield. In some ways, watching Christian Pfeiffer reminds me of a young Tyler Colombo, who as a freshman was long and lanky, and I think Pfeiffer's got longer arms and maybe an inch or 2 on Colombo, but same kind of game. Certainly athletic, obviously the passion and the drive to be great, but need some time in the weight room and in addition to the gym just for the physical maturity. Wenis sprawls for the loose ball. Pfeiffer picks it up and lays it in. That's a big-time play. Well done by Christian Pfeiffer there. 56-54, 10 minutes to play. Fairly easy that time for Capital. Mazzio through the key. Cameron Caldwell, honestly, I thought defended him about as well as you can.
I mean, he was physical getting to the basket and was able to draw the foul because of that physicality. I mean, the defense was great, but being able to utilize the physicality there is what got him to the line.
Jackets haven't been to the free throw stripe very often tonight. That's just their 6th foul shot. Now 4 of 6 with the make. A sloppy game for BW, 12 total turnovers. They are -6 on the glass. Mazzio hits them both.
You know, Capital gets outscored and out assist by their opponents, but they don't get out rebounded. That's one thing where this team is really good. They seem like they're always under the basket getting a rebound, and they've been able to dominate that so far this season.
Bradfield gives back to Schreck. Good move by Tyler. Just spun right around Mazzio. Tied at 58. This is better life on the offensive end from the Jackets.
They're consistently getting to the basket.
Mazzio weaved his way toward the hoop, but misfired. Oh, great move by Caldwell, and then he got hip checked underneath. The between the legs dribble was sweet, and he almost went up and under with a highlight reel caliber play, but he couldn't quite finish it off. So Cameron Caldwell to the free throw line. He'll take his time.
He's 1 for 2 so far in free throws. Jackson Simmons just came in for Baldwin Wallace. He has 7 rebounds for him. He only has 2 points, but rebound-wise, he's been a good presence for them.
Yeah, I think Simmons has played well this year, and frankly, that's an area that is pretty effort-driven. As Capital gets called for a foul there that they certainly don't like. Last Friday, Simmons had a 15-rebound performance on the road at JCU as Mazzio goes back to the free throw line.
Yeah, he's a sophomore as well, so for if you're a Yellow Jackets fan, that's another thing to be really excited for in the future.
Well, this is a really inexperienced BW team, at least in terms of playing together. If you haven't paid attention much this year, Shane Zalba, the only player healthy to play this year, that is in his 3rd year with the program. Luke Schaefer is out with an injury and not sure when he'll be able to return. Caldwell just coasts to the basket there. Anthony Mazzio and Jake Snyder certainly saw a little bit of playing time last year, but Yellow Jackets were pretty guard heavy the last couple of years as Wennis is called for the foul. Samson Albert was on the team last year but didn't play much. But Driscoll's a freshman, Jackson Simmons a first-year player. Wennis and Mackey and Garland, Watson, Pfeiffer, all freshmen. It is a very different looking team for Tom Heil and Brian Schmidt this season. And so there will be some growing pains along the way, but as long as they can stay competitive, that certainly helps things. That's a tough little runner. Not sure how you defend that. Carter Combs for 2.
Yeah, and they have been competitive too. That's the really impressive thing about. Like I said earlier, that their effort is just incredible. And you look forward a few years, and when this group is seniors and juniors, it's kind of sad because then you got to replace these guys. You spent this year grooming them, the next 2 years, competing hopefully, and then you start all over again.
Well, that's the nature of college hoops. That's for sure. Mazzio with the shot clock winding down, tickles a twine. 63 apiece. Tough one there from Mazzio. Give him 15 points.
Great defensive effort.
Graves was on an island, missed it, got his own rebound. That shouldn't happen. Combs puts it in from the same spot.
That's another second chance opportunity that Capital has bounced on.
Under 7 minutes to play. We've seen very few stoppages in this game. And a foul underneath the basket. And I don't mean stoppages for fouls or loose balls. I mean just timeouts in general. Obviously at Division III, there's no media timeouts. And with both teams only calling a couple, we've had some long stretches of play. I think maybe both teams have dealt with a little fatigue from time to time. 1-1 for Drew Wennis.
Here's a stat. So Capital has 13 offensive rebounds to Baldwin Wallace's 4. Now Baldwin Wallace has 23 defensive rebounds to Capital's 22. So they're actually winning a defensive rebound battle, but you can't give up 13 offensive rebounds.
No, it's killing them, and it's turned into 13 second chance points. Big reason why Capital has gotten back into this game now. Bradfield absorbed the contact, pass back to the right. Combs' 3 is short.
Both teams really struggling from 3. Capital's only shooting about 36%, but Baldwin Wallace shooting 29.4%. They're 5 for 17 from 3-point range.
The Jackets look a bit tired to me. When you're young and fatigued, sloppy things happen. Frankly, Capital a little bit winded too, and they committed a foul.
You know, Capital has a few seniors on their team, a few juniors as well. Baldwin Wallace, I believe, only has 2 juniors on roster, and the one senior who's injured. And so they're super young, but you got to think that the seniors and juniors are really helping this Capital team. I mean, they're young as well, but Baldwin Wallace doesn't have that to fall back onto.
Wennis has a chance to tie the game. And he got it. Knock him out, drag him out. It's definitely an OAC game. This is a physical game. We've seen lots of whistles here in the second half. And these two teams are going to have to fight all the way to the finish. Jackson Simmons with a sloppy foul. Too easy, and 1.
This game almost reminds me of like an old Big East game. Looks like I'm watching like Pitt versus West Virginia.
68-66. Bradfield adds another one. Christian Pfeiffer will return the next dead ball. Driscoll. Boy, they closed down around the 3-point line tonight, as well as any team against the Jackets has all year, as Tyler Schreck grabs it, runs, and scores with it. That one is a foul. Schreck didn't think so. Jackets down 6 with 5:15 to play. And that's now the double bonus both directions. So Mazzio goes back to the free throw line. Anthony has scored 15 of Baldwin Wallace's 65. Drew Wennis with 14, Jake Snyder with a dozen tonight. 10 for Pfeiffer. All right, Pfeiffer in for Simmons. And now Schreck sits down with Graves returning. Boy, that one sat on the front of the rim and fell away. Tough break for Mazzio. If you joined us a little bit late, or if you missed the comment earlier, as Caldwell steps out of bounds, BW got off to a red-hot start. They hit 4 of their first 6 three-pointers. And were shooting better than 70%. They hit 10 of their first 14 shots. But things have not gone nearly as well since then, as Jake Snyder muscles his way for 2.
I mean, Jake Snyder, he's been phenomenal inside today. He's finding a way to the basket. He's done it all night long, taking advantage of one-on-one opportunities, and there it translates to an old-fashioned three-point play.
Snyder having one of the best games of his career. 14 points tonight, 6 rebounds. Back to Berea in just a second after a Capital timeout. Cruising along to the end of this game. We are under 5, and right now a 1-possession game. Jake Snyder, who is only a couple points shy of his career high, at the free throw line, completes the three-point play. Give him 15 for the night. 3 shy of his career high, and he has tied a career high with 6 rebounds, which he also did on Saturday last weekend. Great ball rotation, opens up a Dosick 3, but it was blocked. Then he got it back and drew a foul.
What Pfeiffer has done as an inside presence is phenomenal for Baldwin Wallace. I mean, Capital, if you put all those points on the board that have been blocked by him, which is not saying they would have gone in, but, you know, if they were, Baldwin Wallace could be possibly down by 10. I mean, he's kept them in this game with his blocking ability.
Give him 6 blocked shots on the night.
Another offensive rebound for Capital.
That is getting awfully frustrating for Yellow Jacket fans. Dosick dips it off at the last second. That one was partially blocked. And now a foul on BW. You know, Tom Heil's got a good point there. When you jump, you have to be given space to land. And BW, I can't remember who it was without a replay. I have a hard time telling you. There were a couple guys there, but somebody had their legs cut out from underneath them in the paint. So, Keandre Graves to the free throw line. And the first one hits the heel of the rim. Stays a 2-point game for the moment. Gymnasium falls eerily quiet, and Graves missed them both. Wow. Capital has been bad from the free throw line tonight.
Graves himself has been 2 for 6, I believe, from
as a team, they're 10 of 21. That's not getting the job done.
They're not shooting particularly well. Well, neither of these teams are. Well,
the Jackets have certainly shot it better here in the second half. after a brutal stretch to end the first half. BW's got it up to 51% now in the game, and frankly, they've almost given up on the 3-ball tonight as Mazzio connects on that one.
From the field, Baldwin Wallace is shooting 51% to Capital's 42. So even though Capital is out shooting him from the 3-point line, Baldwin Wallace overall from the field is just having a better game.
Well, all the numbers are fairly even. 71-71, the numbers that matter the most. Schreck. Bradfield wasn't expecting it. Pfeiffer pulls it away. Christian Pfeiffer, and one! Huge play for the Yellow Jackets.
I mean, he shot phenomenal. He's been playing both ends amazing. He's having a phenomenal game for Baldwin Wallace. I mean, he's impacted the game in a way that cannot be put into words.
What an effort. Jackets back out front by 3. Combs with a right hand over the front of the rim and count it. +1 for Carter Combs. This game certainly hasn't lacked exclamation points here of late.
So Pfeiffer has hit 2 career highs today. He had 4 blocks was his season high, I should say, his season high. And then he had 12 points against Mount Union. So it's easy, you can say that he broke both of those tonight.
Well, did they hit Pfeiffer with that foul? I believe they did. That's his 5th. Christian Pfeiffer's done. So he fouls out with 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 block shots. I apologize earlier. I thought it was 6. It was 5 block shots for Pfeiffer tonight. But the Yellow Jackets are going to miss not having him on the floor. By the way, Anthony Mazzio, who's obviously out there. Mazzio playing with 4 fouls, 3 on Rob Watson, who's on the bench at the moment. And that free throw ties the game. Capital has a couple guys in foul trouble too. Graves, Schreck, and Bradfield all with 4. Wennis wide open. Can't make him pay for it.
The 3 just has not been there tonight.
Combs the transition triple. No, but Hartman cleans it up. Capital leads by 2 with 3 minutes to play.
And Baldwin Wallace can't get antsy here. They still have time.
Mazzio, good find, and Simmons got whacked underneath. It's on Hartman. That's only his 2nd. And Jackson Simmons goes to the stripe with a chance to sink a couple foul shots to tie the game. Simmons 4 for 7 on the year. Make it 4 of 8. Splits the pair. So the Jackets are down 1 with under 3 minutes to go. Both teams trying to win for a 2nd time in their last 3. Hartman grabs another offensive rebound. That's a foul, but Combs' layup does not go home. Give Capital an 18th offensive rebound. The Jackets have 4. It's not a size advantage. Capital right now wants it more underneath the basket.
You know, they're getting to the right spots underneath the basket, and Baldwin Wallace isn't boxing out. Those guys, they're in the right spots. And, Capital's capitalizing on it. Well, no pun intended there.
Carter Combs off the front of the iron. Combs hits 1 out of 2. And Coach Goodwin calls 30-second timeout for Cap. Crusaders by 2, 77-75 late here in Berea. Capital leads the Yellow Jackets by just 2 points. And the Crusaders are on defense here after those recent foul shots. Elsewhere around the league, Marietta still trailing Wilmington 60-56, under 5 to play. Otterbein ahead of Muskie by 13, 3 minutes to go. Heidelberg leads Mount Union 70-69 with 14 seconds left in the game. Mazzio misfires there.
Crucial offensive rebound for Baldwin Wallace.
Wennis, no good on the 3.
You know, Wennis has struggled to get going from 3. It's now 2 for 6.
Get a foul on the floor. Tom Heil didn't like it.
At first I thought they called like a double dribble or a carry there. I wasn't aware of the foul.
So 2 free throws coming now for Carter Combs, who's played a big role here toward the end of this one. And he hits the first.
There's been a lot of fouls down here, down the stretch.
By the way, Mount Union now down 2 after Heidelberg hits some free throws with 13 seconds left, and Mount Union just called timeout. Down 71-69. That would be a big win for the Student Princes. Under 2 minutes to play here. Snyder off the back of the iron. Looked good out of his hand. Jackets down 4.
Baldwin Wallace trying to get it all back at once.
Schreck. Graves fades away. Got it. That's a big bucket. Now it's 81-75 with a minute and a half to go. Snyder gets to the rim but misses the layup. 2-on-1. Graves avoids the steal and lays it home.
You need a quick bucket here for Baldwin Wallace.
Jackets down 8. Driscoll flings it up. Mazzio cleans up the miss. And a timeout. Well, Mount Union tied the game at 71 apiece. And I believe with less than a second left, Heidelberg still has a chance to inbound. I'm trying to follow 2 games for you at once. Heidelberg could win it if they can make a basket with less than a full second left to play. They're playing in Mount Union tonight. Meanwhile, in this one, things are getting a bit frustrating if you're a Yellow Jacket fan, because BW had done such a good job fighting all the way back. They had tied the game at 73. It was at one point 76-75 with 3:10 to play. And then a little spurt here from Capital has put the Crusaders in a really good position. 83-77 with a minute to go. Inbounds pass stolen by Snyder. He raises from 3 and puts it off the side of the backboard. Empty possession. Caldwell beats Mazzio. This is Combs holding. Jackets need to either foul or get the ball like now. Combs lays it in. Boy, that was
a stop there.
That was frustrating. A lot of time came off the clock there, and Capital score. Mazzio contested three, didn't go. That's probably going to do it. Under 20 seconds left, and now Capital gets fouled with an 8-point lead.
They got that steal that they desperately needed, and they threw up a shot right away. You're only down 2 possessions. Right? You're only down 6 at that time. You could take your time a little bit. There was little under a minute, but instead they forced a shot up, and you know, if it was last week, maybe that goes in. But
I don't know if I agree with that. I think you're trying to extend the game as long as you can. And I realize it's double bonus, but the clock is your enemy at that point. If I'm BW, I'm frankly not convinced Mazzio wasn't trying to foul outside the 3-point line, and it just wasn't whistled. I'm a little surprised that the Jackets didn't commit a more obvious foul earlier on there. Again, still some time. The game's not over, but it's made considerably harder now. Down by 8. 18 seconds to play. Hartman makes it a 9-point game. (86-77). Again, Christian Pfeiffer fouled out a little bit ago for the Jackets. Mazzio open, or at least enough to shoot it. Capital in the corner, and the Crusaders call a timeout with 7.1 on the clock. So with the Jackets down 9 and 7 seconds to play, certainly doesn't look promising that they'll be able to make a comeback here. But not impossible, you never know, and you want to try to learn everything you can from end-of-game situations, right? You don't, especially when you got a young team, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity you get to teach. So that's exactly what the Jacket coaching staff's going to try and do here. And in some regard, you almost sit here as a coach and say, look, down 9 with 7 seconds, you don't have the ball. Probably not going to happen. But, you know, how can we make a steal and get a good shot off? You know, try to focus on the game within the game, if you will.
I mean, there's still things that you can work on at times like this. Put in a different trap that you haven't put in yet. I mean, different type of things that you can do, especially with the full court press. But with 7 seconds left, there's not that window is a lot tighter than if there was a minute left and they were down bigger. But there's definitely things that you can work on in this opportunity with a young team.
So an inbound pass coming from David Sanford. He's called another timeout. Apparently they didn't like the idea of handing the ball in to Cameron Caldwell, who was right in front of him wide open. But
I mean, earlier, didn't you say there weren't a lot of timeouts in this game? Yeah. I think they wanted to use them right now.
They've got them available here toward the end. So Cap calls a full timeout. Meanwhile, they're in overtime in Alliance. Heidelberg leads Mount Union 73-71. Could the Student Princes possibly pull off a upset in Alliance? We'll find out. Tomorrow night, Jackets and Crusaders will be back on this floor on the ladies' side when these two teams on the men's side will meet down in Bexley. 6 o'clock contests tomorrow night. All right, Capital 1 timeout left. Jackets have 3. Sanford with a baseball toss inbounds. Carter Combs is fouled 5.2. And again, there the thing I think just leaves you scratching your head, and you go back to the fact that it's maybe just a young team that hasn't quite figured it out yet. You know, for Snyder to foul in that situation to lengthen the game, but not foul, you know, when there's 50 seconds left and it's a 6-point game, it makes you wonder there, you know, where the disconnect was. But nevertheless,
well, you know, they were probably wondering if they could get a stop there. 2-possession game, hit 2 threes. And you know, you had 30 seconds to work with. I think that's what they were thinking there. But I mean, most people would have fouled in that situation.
Mazzio hits the layup. Capital inbounds, and the game is over. Capital at one point was down 33-17, and they come back and win 88-79 with great closing minutes in this evening's contest. So the Jackets fall to 2-5 with a loss. Capital goes to 3-4 now on the season. Jackets hit 5 of 23 from behind the three-point line. 5 of 23 after they started 4 of 6. Not a good night for BW from deep. They only hit 29 of 63 overall, which, I mean, at 46% is fine, but considering the offensive rebounds that Capital pulled in, 16 in total, and those 16 rebounds were the difference in the total rebounding margin as well. Just a frustrating night all the way through for BW. Leading scorer in the game was Anthony Mazzio. He had 22, and a good chunk of those came via the free throws at the end of the night. Carter Combs, a 20-point game for Cap. He led the way for the Crusaders. 17 for Reed Bradfield, 15 for Keandre Graves, 15 for Jake Snyder, 14 tonight for Drew Ennis. Christian Pfeiffer had 13 and 5 with 5 blocks before he fouled out. So again, tomorrow night, these two teams will meet down in Bexley. It's a 6 p.m. tip-off. And on the ladies' side, both schools will be represented here on this floor. Dominic, your final thoughts?
I mean, it was a sloppy game. It was really close, really entertaining at the end, and I mean, hopefully Baldwin Wallace can fix that rebounding situation. In the foul situation too, we didn't bring enough attention to that, but you know, hopefully Baldwin Wallace can go into Capital tomorrow night and get revenge after today.
Again, the final score tonight: Capital 88, Baldwin Wallace 79. Coverage of tonight's men's basketball game is presented by Santo's Italian Restaurant in Middleburg Heights, family owned and operated for 35 years, and by American International. If you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. For Dom McClary, I'm Brendan Gulick. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Yellow Jackets and Crusaders. Have a good night, everybody.